This is Dr. Tracy Gapin, and you're watching the Break It Down show.
My man Tracy is on the show. Hey, it's always great to be able to chat with you. I love it, inadvertent, but I love the timing that tomorrow is Thanksgiving, since it's a feast, right? And we love to celebrate these things, and it's great to do. But also, we also have to take care of our wellness. And you're a precision medicine doctor. I hope I'm getting the title right. You've been on the show a couple of times, but I thought we might spend some time talking about your new ventures, your book, and then also just here we go. Here come the holidays.
That's right. Good times, a lot going on, a lot happening. The world is crazy, obviously, with COVID and stuff, but here we are. The holidays are upon us, and it brings along new challenges.
Yeah. I realized that, for me, as I've gotten older, like I used to be fit, I used to be an athlete, I used to run fast and everything else. And between combat and I guess just an accumulation of bad habits or addictions or whatever, I have become terrible at what goes in my mouth. So some people puke, some people don't eat, some people I just mindlessly eat sometimes, and I struggle with it, and then I give up, and then I have to get back on the horse. But it's not doing me. It's not what I'm doing isn't working. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. So a brief background here. I specialize in precision performance medicine, in which I dial in my clients' unique genetics to take a very personalized approach to optimizing their health and vitality and longevity. But this time of year, it's such a common issue, what you just described, where people just tend to forget everything they were doing for the year and kind of just put their hands up and almost give up, almost like, hey, there's all this good stuff around me, and I'm just going to just say, screw it, I'll wait till January 1st and start all over again.
Right.
And so I like to kind of come back to the basics. This time of year is really critical to focus on what's important, focusing on a few key elements of your health that'll just get you through the holiday season. So when it comes to nutrition, what you just described is so common, where, there's food and snacks and sweets and treats and desserts and pies and so on everywhere. And, I think it's important to understand that if you diet, if you try to torture yourself and count calories and, avoid ever living, then you're going to fail. So I never recommend dieting. Ever do I recommend any man, I don't care how overweight they are, you should never quote diet. What it should be is focusing on a healthy lifestyle, a healthy, proactive strategies that you can utilize and employ to help you lose weight, help you regain your energy and vitality and focus. Specifically looking at days like Thanksgiving, first of all, I do want to emphasize that what you do 363 days of the year is exponentially, infinitely more important than what you do on Thanksgiving and Christmas Day, first of all. So the proponents out there for torturing yourself in those 2 days, you're setting up to fail, because you're going to hate yourself that you didn't enjoy it. And so I would not want to deprive you of having Thanksgiving dinner and having dessert and enjoying it. But I put into perspective that it's all about portion control, and it's all about focusing on the good nutrients and foods first. So what I would emphasize is identify the good foods, the foods like the lean turkey. If you're not a vegetarian and you eat meat, the lean turkey. Focus on the vegetables on the table. Focus on the healthy foods like that. And I almost like to say, drown yourself with the good stuff. So if you have some of the bad stuff, you're kind of full already. You kind of don't have much space left for it. So if you want to have a small sliver of pumpkin pie, or if you want to have, even some cranberries, or, whatever the sweets, chocolate there may be, it's all about moderation. It's all about portion control. Get through the day with as little as possible by drowning it out with the good stuff. Whether it's a salad, whether it's vegetables, whatever it may be, portion control is really critical.
People say portion control, and then I look at the actual portions on the package, like a portion of rice. I'm like, why even bother? It's like 2 scoops of rice. It's nothing,
Yeah.
Which gives you an indication of what portion control really is all about. I mean, If you eat, what is it, half a cup of rice for a serving, it doesn't look like much on your plate.
Right. The other thing to do is focus on eating slowly. So we have a hormone called leptin, which leptin is a hormone that your body makes that tells you you're full. And if you eat too quickly, you don't give your body time to process, digest your food, and for your body to produce leptin to tell your brain, I'm full, quit eating. And so by the time that kicks in, it's too late and you've already overeaten. So I would emphasize to really focus on portion control, focus on slowing down your meal, enjoy it with your family, enjoy conversation if you can tolerate your family, which about half the population can. Joking aside, focus on the social community, gratitude aspect of Thanksgiving, and slow down your meal, and that'll definitely help. The other thing I'll really emphasize too is alcohol. I have so many clients who don't think alcohol is a problem, and I'll ask them, well, how much do you drink? And they'll say, well, I'll have maybe 2 or 3 glasses a night, or 2 or 3 drinks a day. And whatever people tell me is typically much more than that also.
Right.
But a big issue with our health is alcohol and the dramatic effect it has on our bodies. From a physiologic perspective, it increases stress. It increases our cortisol hormone, which is important for acute situations of stress. But otherwise, cortisol wreaks havoc on your testosterone function, on your thyroid function. It slows down weight loss and fat loss. It slows down metabolism, makes you build or makes you gain weight, build fat, and prevents you from building muscle. And so forget the calories, forget the sugar, forget the detrimental effects that alcohol has on your sleep, the quality of your sleep. It has a profound effect on your hormones, specifically by raising cortisol, lowering thyroid, lowering testosterone. So from an alcohol perspective, have one drink. Try to limit yourself if you're going to have alcohol on Thanksgiving, which most people will. Try to limit yourself to one drink, and then after that, have club soda, have water, have iced tea, lemonade, whatever else it may be. But try to really, again, it comes down to portion control. Enjoy it. Have a glass of red wine, whatever it may be, but then stop there.
That's good advice. I mean, I like to start my Thanksgiving off with the mimosa. It's just part of the the feast beginning. And I don't drink like I used to, but I don't drink a lot. But if you were to count the number of drinks I drank in a month, it might be 30, it might be 40 even. I mean, I don't drink much. We usually don't finish a bottle of wine when we have it. We try not to drink during the week. But I might also sit down and have 2 beers while I record a show on a Friday afternoon, or a Monday afternoon, just kind of depending on what happens. Is it worthwhile to just in general kind of track those things, and maybe even like instead of having 2 beers, have one, or just replace it with something else? I mean, how detrimental is alcohol in general? Like that one drink at the end of the night that I want to have to relax or unwind.
Yeah. I tell you, one glass of red wine or one drink here and there is certainly okay. It's going to not have a profound effect on you if it's an occasional enjoyment splurge, if you will, like that. Where you get into trouble is
I have a bottle of whiskey right by my. I don't drink that much. It's taking me a long time to get through this, and I've shared it.
That's just your November bottle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think tracking it is the first step to understand how much you're really drinking. Just write down, keep a track of how many drinks you're having on a daily basis. And for most people, it's too much. Most people, it's way too much. And so sometimes the objective data, the evidence can be helpful to bring some awareness to the situation. That in reality, on a weekly basis, 2, 3, 4 drinks a week should be like the upper limits of what you're having. If you're having more than that, then you need to really do some introspection and acknowledge the effects that that's having on you. You're not going to, I'll put it this way, if you're having more than that, you're not going to lose weight. I don't care what else you're doing. You're not going to lose weight because it's crushing your sleep. And sleep is when you clear away, all the dead debris and cellular trash, so to speak. It's when your body resets. It's when when your metabolism kicks in. It's when you have restorative aspects that you need. So it's crushing your sleep. It's raising your resting heart rate. It's increasing cortisol, lowering all the good hormones, and you're never going to succeed.
Yeah, and you're specifically not talking about being an alcoholic. You're talking about someone who isn't an alcoholic, someone who just is detrimental to their own long-term health plans because of their alcohol consumption.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're drinking every day if you're having, the liquor on your desk there, or if you're drinking a beer every day, it's probably having a profound effect on your health. If it's a couple nights a week where you're having a glass of red wine, that's very different. Or if you're having, one mixed drink a week kind of thing, just when you go out on a Saturday night with your wife or whatever, that's very different than someone who is a habitual daily drinker. And that alcohol on a daily basis, even though you don't think it's very much, you're discounting its effect because you're not drunk and you can quote stop whenever you want. I'm not saying you're an alcoholic. I don't mean to belittle or shame people. I'm simply pointing out that if you're a man who is looking to, get more energy, improve your libido, lose weight, burn that belly fat, get rid of that muffin top, you're never going to do it if you're drinking that much. You're just never going to do it. So when it comes to the day, think about having a maybe a couple drinks and stopping there.
Yeah. Yeah. In general, these things compound into, it's, yes, the physical presentation of it, like, yes, I'm too fat. I now wear 42s instead of 36s and all that kind of stuff. But the other stuff, that sleep, all these things create this cumulative, debilitating effect, I would even call it. What other kind of presentations are there? Like when you get to be 45, 50, 60 years old, what does that look like when it's accumulated over decades? And even if you were like me, a young, healthy, athlete who's got to change what he does because his body's beat up, what does that look like in terms of how we perform day-to-day life?
Yeah, it's a good question. And there's no one simple nugget. It's an entire complex of systems that come together to create this outcome that I see in men like you every day, Pete. Men in their 40s and 50s who used to be in great shape, used to be athletes, and now they're struggling. You've lost your edge, and you can't burn the fat like you used to. You don't have the endurance, and middle of the day you're tired and run down and fatigued. And it's a constellation of I look at 6 main areas of health. I look at nutrition, sleep, mindset and stress, detoxification, hormones, and fitness. And we can look at all 6 of those areas and understand the changes that you're unfortunately going through and how you need to approach things very differently than you did back when you were in your 20s. So for example, let's just look at fitness alone. So when you were younger, you could go out and play sports all day and go to bed, wake up the next morning, you're good to go. You're never really fatigued. Your body's able to recover quickly. Now at this point, your body cannot recover like it used to. You have increased muscle fatigability. You have decreased recovery. Your mitochondria, which are the workhorse of the cell, doesn't work like it did back when you were in your 20s. And so you need to do a lot to improve that. And so fitness is something that you need to emphasize as part of your daily ritual now, because it's no longer automatic like it was when you were young. So that means on a daily basis, we need to integrate either one of 4 areas of fitness: strength training, interval training, endurance aerobic training, and stretching. And most guys will skip the stretching part of things. Most guys will skip the strength training part of things and just they'll go out and jog a couple miles a day and think that that's it. You can't. You got to do a combination of them. For a 50-year-old guy in general, you need about 50% of your activity should be strength and interval training, and 50% should be endurance training. So you need a combination of both of the two. And then stretching is really critical because most guys tend to not stretch well enough. You tighten up, and that's when injury happens. You go out and do some strength training, and the next thing you know, you've injured yourself and you're out of commission for 8 weeks, and you've blown it. So those 4 aspects of fitness. I've just dive deep into one of those 6 areas of health for you, Pete, just to show you how what you're like now is nothing like what you were in your 20s, and you have to, therefore, for that reason, you have to approach things differently.
No, yeah, I can appreciate that. And this is sort of the reason why we have this kind of a conversation. It can be overwhelming, God's honest truth. I know for me specifically, but also a lot of audience members, as we try to get these things right on a day-to-day basis, it just, I haven't stretched in 2 months, and it's just so easy to be like, what's the point? Like, I never get this, and there's also like, I always try, but I don't get anywhere, like I make time for this. And then, there are so many things to keep track of. Like, what supplements do I need? What vitamins do I need? Oh my God. Now I got to make sure,
Right.
I'm eating more, whatever. And I need red rice yeast. And it's exhausting to try to do all of these things. Is
Right.
there, like, help me through understanding that? Like, is there a pyramid of things we should do? Like, what? And
Yeah,
there's so
great
much
question.
conflicting evidence too,
There's a lot, yeah. And I like to start with the foundation. When we look at those 6 areas of health that I mentioned, I like to start with a simple foundational aspect that every man should utilize. And some of those are very simple. So for, just to give you some examples, looking at fitness, every man should be doing strength and interval training, as well as some endurance training, as well as stretching. And you should be doing those at least 4 to 5 days a week. So that's something you easily just tell yourself every day for 30 minutes, I got to do something. I got it. What's my something going to be today? And how you do it without injuring yourself. I always recommend starting with a trainer if you're not into fitness to begin with, so you learn proper technique and stuff. But 30 minutes a day, you got to do something. When it comes to nutrition, focus on whole, real food. That means something that either grows from the ground or has a mother. To make it easy, start with that.
Yeah.
Anything that's packaged, if there's ingredients that you can't pronounce or don't know what they are, you can't eat it. If it's a packaged salad, for example, that's okay. If it's a package of cookies, it's not okay, because you look at the ingredients, you don't know what the hell half the stuff in there is.
But I like cookies.
Well, there you go. So, but there are great alternatives though. And the key is finding healthy alternatives that you like. And so what I do when I work with men is one of the first health assessments that I obtain is a nutritional preference list. Just hey, basically, what foods do you like?
Yeah.
Going through all the different areas, different vegetables and fruits and proteins and healthy fats and identifying foods that you like to eat. So for example, a lot of guys like avocado. A lot of guys like walnuts. A lot of guys like macadamia nuts, salmon, all kinds of different vegetables. You can do vegetables and hummus, for example. So there are ways of finding foods that you like that you can still enjoy without it being miserable. And, I'm not telling you to sit there and eat celery all day. You got to eat real food. But packaged, processed food, to-go food, restaurant food is typically not going to be your best bet. Foods that are packaged or processed, you have ingredients you don't understand, you don't know. Typically they have the bad fats, whether it's the trans fats, or the poison of our society is omega-6 fatty acids, which are vegetable oils. Yeah. Any restaurant you go to, they cook your food in oil, and that's a vegetable oil, whether it's canola, corn oil, safflower, sunflower oil. And all those oils have been shown without question to crush your hormones and cause inflammation and cause obesity. So focus on cooking food, real food at home. An example, you can go to the grocery store and pick up a lean chicken breasts or a salmon fillet or other types of fish, or even, once a week, have some red meat, have a fillet you cook on the grill. You can cook a shish kebab, chicken shish kebab with vegetables. You can put, fish on foil and put it in the oven and put some seasoning on it. Easy things that you can do like that take no time at all, making healthy choices. In terms of supplementation, you asked, what should every guy be doing? It's very individualized, but I could tell you there are some foundational things that every guy should definitely include. Number one, you need a good multivitamin. You need a good multivitamin, and Essentium or one a day or Flintstones chewable or any of those ones don't count. Those are worthless because you're not absorbing the nutrients that are in those vitamins. Typically, a good quality vitamin is going to be either a pack, like a plastic pack that has like 10 to 12 different capsules and tablets in there, or the one that I use, I get it from Zymogen, and it's two pills in the morning and two in the evening. That's typically what you're going to need. It's going to be a minimum of 4 pills a day to get all the nutrients in the multivitamin that you need. I highly recommend an algae-based DHA fish oil as well for the omega-3. You really want to try to reduce the omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids that you have in your body and your intake. So fish oil helps you do that. Every guy, I believe, should be on vitamin D. And I'm not giving formal medical advice, obviously, but I would typically recommend the clients that I work with. I typically recommend vitamin D, and then there are a lot of other ones to go from there that I really individualize and personalize it for each guy. when it comes to sleep, what can you do? I know you and most other men tend to discount the value of sleep, but good quality sleep is so incredibly important. It's probably one of the biggest aspects of health that's overlooked. And the number one thing that you can do that your listeners can take home tonight is set your alarm. The iPhones now have a new function that you can set it to having a sleep alarm. And it'll tell you, that you go to bed at the same time every single night. So, for example, I sleep from 11 to 7 if I can. Forget when I'm on call at the hospital. Like this weekend, that didn't quite work out as planned. But set a time, and that's your bedtime every single night, 7 days a week. There's a thing called social jet lag where people try to catch up on sleep on the weekends. You can't do that. You got to have a consistent sleep night time every single night. Focus on good sleep hygiene, like limiting computer screen and phones and any kind of blue light within 4 hours of going to bed as well. So these are some things that Pete, any man can do starting today, starting right now. Super simple. Nothing I've given you costs anything. Nothing is incredibly difficult to do, but at least it's a start as a foundation, as a baseline that you can do to kind of turn things around. More than anything, though, I'll leave my answer with this. It starts with up here. It starts with mindset.
Yeah.
My Male 2.0 protocol, M, is for mindset, because it all starts there. You have to have a purpose, have a drive, have a reason for making these changes. If you're doing it just because you want to lose 10 pounds because you're tired of being fat, that's not going to do it. You need to have a purpose, a reason that drives you, that keeps you motivated and focused. And that's really where it starts.
I want to dive into the Male 2.0 system, but I also want to bring in another limiting factor sometimes, or at least a factor we struggle with. And I think everybody should listen to the show that we did with Dr. Larissa, you and I, because these things, it's a team effort. Yes, you can go out and take your multivitamin, program your sleep timer, do all these things for yourself. It is a whole lot easier when you have some help in terms of like your significant other, and then maybe even having it, and we'll transition into this, like having someone like you guide us professionally, or Pete Koch, train us. All these things can be done via the internet. But talk a little bit about partner health and well-being, and how these things, like when do you need to work together and when do you need to go your own way, and mindset. That's hard to do.
Yeah. Great point. And yeah, we spent some good time with Larissa that day. That was a fun conversation. It's so important that you're on the same page with your partner. I've seen men fail because their partner doesn't care. Their partner's not interested in improving their health. They don't see the big picture. And when your partner's making bad decisions, after a while, it creeps in on you, and you lose the focus and motivation. So it needs to be a team effort. And, I think it's valuable, and my wife and I have done this, when I'm going to share with you, to really talk about your goals. Where do you want to be in 10, 20 years from now? What is your drive? What's important to you? What's life all about? Why are we here? What do you want to accomplish? And for me and my wife, we have very similar goals. It's to live as long as we can and support and nurture our beautiful children. And everything we do is right now for us and our children. And so if I feel like shit, excuse my language, and I am tired and not focused and not at my personal best, how can I be the amazing father I want to be for those beautiful kids of mine if I'm not doing the things I got to do to take care of myself? And that's what drives me. That is, like, I get chills just thinking about, how much I love them, how important they are to me, what a priority they are to me. So when I look at a box of Milk Duds, just randomly pull that out of my head, why on earth would I eat those right now when I could be doing something different, eating something better, making a better decision, knowing how that's going to ultimately affect me? And when you come to every decision in your life, where you can decide. It's just living with intention by deciding, is that what I want to do, or is that? And when you get down to that granular level of what's important to you, and don't lose sight of that. Don't ever lose sight of what your driving force is. What is your purpose? What is your function? What's your why? Call it your why. It makes decisions very, very easy, Pete. I tell you what, it makes it very, very easy. That doesn't mean you can't have a Milk Dud every now and then. as in this example, but it's choosing the right decision on a daily basis. And that may be, I'll give you a great example. I am juggling multiple businesses right now, building new things, and all kinds of business opportunities are coming at me. And so at 11 o'clock at night, I can make a decision. Do I keep working on this business plan I'm working on here, or working on this graphic here, or working on this client program over here? Or Pete, do I decide, you know what, this is more important, I'm going to bed? And it's so hard to do as an entrepreneur to just freaking turn everything off and go to bed. And so it's decisions like that, knowing the value of that decision. Because now at 7 a.m. when my kids are jumping on me in bed, I'm able to be at my best because I've gotten a proper night's sleep, and I'm restored, and I've taken care of my body when the time needed me to do that. So that's just a small example of how decision making is so critical.
Yeah, we had Deepak Chopin on the show, and he talked about brain health. And you guys both say, and more we hear about it, sugar is just poison.
Yeah.
And I have to think of that milk dud. I have to look at it and go, "You're poison," and it convinced my brain, "You're poison." Or we have a lovely persimmon tree in the backyard, and the persimmons are just, Jerry makes persimmon bread, and it's the season, and it's like, oh my God, it's so easy to eat those things, and they're, I don't know, I mean, a lot of grams of sugar. So it's so easy to do. Is there a percentage of time? So Gabby Reese told me, she's like, 80-20. 80% of the time, put the right thing into your body to fuel your longevity, your health, your well-being. And then the other 20%, yeah, go crazy. Have something else. Don't go crazy, but you don't have to get it right every single time. Do you follow that, or do you think the number's different? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I disagree a little bit. I think 20%, that's a lot. That's over a day a week. That's 20% is a lot. I would say this: it depends on where you are in your journey, in your health, and where you want to be. Yeah. Most men who I work with, they need to lose 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds. Those guys can't act the same way as someone who's already at where they want to be, and they're on a maintenance phase, so to speak, and they're looking at expanding longevity, and they're kind of at a different level, if you will, of in their performance pathway. Someone who's trying to burn fat, build muscle, regain energy, regain their vitality, if you're eating like crap 20% of the time, you're going to spend about 60 to 70% of the time just catching up from that 20% that you spent. So if I had to give you, gun to my head, I had to give you, well, how much can I do? I would say start with one meal a week. If you want to eat one meal of just crap, have pizza, have the dessert, have the whatever, just for your own sanity, then that's fine. And perhaps that gives you the motivation the rest of the week just to get through to that one meal. But I think 20% is a disservice to what most guys need. It gives you a false sense of, yeah, I'm fine, I'm messing around this 20%. And then next thing 20% is the whole weekend, going from Friday night until Monday morning. You're just not going to be successful with that kind of lax mindset and attitude, if you will. So yeah, that's my opinion.
And it quickly becomes, I'll pay it forward later. So I'll do these 2 days, and then for the next 15, I'll be super good. Right. And that's you never catch that thing you're chasing.
Right. You know what? An analogy that I've come up with that I think is valuable here, and that is this: look at the stock market. You put $100 in the stock market. Let's say you'll lose 10% one day, okay, and then you lose 10% another day, okay. You lose 10% twice. You've now gone to $81, okay. $100 down to 90, another 10% down to 81. Okay. Now, if you gain 10% back, what do you get? 81 plus 8 is about 89 or so.
Yeah.
Okay, give or take. Now, let's say you gain another 10% back. Okay. 89 plus 8 is about 97 or so. You see my point?
Yep.
Even though you've lost 20% and gained 20%, you're a loser.
Yeah.
You're still a loser, even though you think you've caught up. So that's the point, is that when you lose momentum, when in this case, lose money, to get that money back is that much harder.
Yeah.
You're putting yourself behind the 8 ball. You're making it that much harder to catch up. And that's why, again, if you're making bad decisions continually, if you're drinking every day, if you're not sleeping well every day, you're not taking the proper targeted supplementation, you're never going to succeed.
Yeah. Yeah. When you watch YouTube, at least I get pitched a lot of health and fitness things, and there's these young people, and I love young people, don't get me wrong, but if you're 25 and you're in great shape, that's great. Your body still looks good. And like you, my work schedule stops when I'm like, I have to go to bed now. I have to. You know what? Let me do a timeout on this, and let me ask you this. So I don't have to get up by an alarm. I just am able to wake up, and I don't wake up until I'm ready to get up. But I probably sleep 6.5 hours in a straight shot, and I take a nap every day. So I get 8 hours. But is that a problem, do you think? Do I need to force? I mean, I can stay in bed, but then, the quality of the sleep that I get once I've started to wake up isn't as good.
So you're saying you get 6.5 hours at night, and then you'll get a nap later in the day to give you your date. Yeah. So every person is different, and your genetics will help us understand how much your body needs. Some people may get by with 6.5, 7 hours of sleep. Other people actually need more than 8 hours of sleep. So that is somewhat genetic based, or it's definitely genetic based, but it's somewhat going to depend on that on what I recommend for you.
Yeah.
But to understand sleep a little better, there are several stages of sleep that each provide different value. So when you first fall asleep, you're in REM sleep, which is random eye movement sleep. And that's when you tend to dream. It's the very light stage of sleep. And you get some benefits of that REM sleep. Then you go into the light stages of sleep, stage 1 and 2, which are relatively ineffective in terms of its restorative functions. Your deep sleep, which is stage 3 and 4, is the most valuable part of your sleep and gives you the most incredible restorative functions when it comes to clearing cellular debris, getting growth hormone levels back up, memory, other key aspects like that. Energy metabolism are related to some features as well. So your circadian rhythm really dictates a lot of pathways in your body and your physiology, and you need that deep sleep to achieve that. You then come up after deep sleep into light sleep again, and then REM sleep again. And you go back to that whole cycle again. And in these sleep cycles of, if you will, from REM to light to deep and then back up again, happens about 3 to 4 times a night. The problem with naps, while yes, some people have amazing benefits with naps, and I like a nap every now and then whenever I magically have 15 minutes quiet time. I don't ever.
Yeah.
But you can't really count that in 8 hours of sleep. For you, that's really 6.5 hours of sleep because, and I see this a lot in men who will, wake up because they got to urinate or because they have sleep apnea or other sleep disturbance issues, and they lose all that deep sleep because once you wake up, you start that cycle all over again. So if you go through REM and then light and then wake up, you don't go back to deep when you fall asleep. You start all over again. And so the problem is by not having that continuous cycle of sleep throughout the night, you're missing that critical deep sleep that happens toward the end of each sleep cycle.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so a lot of people out there that are experts, these young folks that are in fantastic shape, saying you can get into fantastic shape, but you have the letters DR in front of your name, and you've written a book and a system that is in that book. Let's talk a little bit about the credentials, because there's a lot of people out there that, they've body hacked or they've, read these things in a Russian novel. And, there's a lot of people doing these things a lot of different ways. And I don't mean to undermine anybody's success, but you're an actual doctor who actually knows about these things.
Well, yeah, you bring up a great point. There are a lot of incredibly smart people out there. There's incredible nutritionalists, there are incredible functional medicine docs and integrated practitioners and incredible trainers out there. So, no disrespect to any of them. But there are certainly a lot of people out there who are just out to make a buck and, selling their magic pill to lose weight, their magic program, their magic, exercise that no one's ever thought of before that's going to magically help you lose 50 pounds, while you continue to eat like crap, a lot of the shortcuts that are out there to make money. What I like to emphasize is what I call what's termed a systems-based approach, which is from a medical perspective. I come at it from all angles and realize that the body is a symphony, if you will, of different instruments, and you have to focus on every one of those. And so I have a strong background in Western medicine. I went through traditional medical school and urology residency for 6 years, and I've been in urology for 20 years now. I also have a training in epigenetics and functional medicine and anti-aging medicine through A4M and AMMG, which is the Age Management Medical Group. I've also gone through peptide certification for peptide therapy as well. And what I like to bring to the men I serve is an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. I'm constantly learning. There's so much out there to learn, and there's always more. And there's never one simple answer. It's always a complex answer that requires a complex question, if you will, but a complex solution to a problem as well. So example, someone got, hey, I want to lose weight. Tell me what to do. Just give me an easy pill. Well, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to make an easy button for you, but it's not going to be one simple pill. It's going to be looking at, again, 6 areas of health. And so that's why I've created what I call the Mel 2.0 protocol, which is in my book, Mel 2.0, where I go through the MALE of health. And M, starts with mindset, and then A is aging and hormones, where we look at not just testosterone, but thyroid and cortisol and insulin and all the other key hormones that tend to get neglected. Most of these testosterone clinics that you see at every corner now, it seems, they're quick to just give you a testosterone shot and send you out the door. And the problem is that's not going to get you what you need. That's a short-term Band-Aid fix that's going to maybe make you feel great for a couple of days. But you need a more complex solution. So that's the A of aging of the male protocol. L is lifestyle, where we take a very personalized approach to nutrition and fitness and stress. And we look at genetics to help guide us on specific recommendations around that. And then E is environment, and I talk a lot about endocrine disruptors, which are chemicals in our environment, in the food and food we eat and the water we drink and the products we use on our bodies that are crushing our health, whether it comes to hormone function or autoimmunity or obesity or risk of cancer. And so that's the Mel 2.0 protocol. It's where I've made it easy for men to understand what to do while still not giving any magic bullet, because there is none.
I'm glad you went through that, because a lot of us middle-aged dudes, we don't want to give up. We want to keep fighting. We understand that failure is part of the process of growing. And I just look. I'll be honest. I don't trust a lot of younger folks that are healthier, because they started from a youthful body. How do we get this reclamation project back to where it needs to be? And I want you to know about peptides. I know that there are peptides. I know that there are epigenetics. Heck, I probably know more than the average person about epigenetics, because I've had you on the show and Attila Haidu on the show talking about it. But if you don't have that, telemedicine's a thing. I know you're big on that. How does someone leverage you, to like, and then in what areas of their life? Okay, great. My pants fit better. My wife is, saying, hey, you look great. Those things are important. But what other areas do you impact when someone works with someone like you?
Confidence. It's confidence. Men come in for low testosterone or for libido or, hey, I need to lose weight or energy or this or that. But if I can give you one thing, Pete, one powerful impact that I see in the men I work with, it's confidence. It's confidence that, hey, I can do this. It's belief in yourself that I know what I need to do to take care of myself now. I know what I need to do to live to 100. I know that I am capable of providing for my spouse, my partner. I'm capable of performing when the time comes, when the time is right. And so, it's feeling like a man again, is having energy, is regaining your vitality, all these kind of catchphrases. But if I could bring it down to one simple word, is confidence. And that's what most men want.
Yeah, confidence is a lot. How about in workday performance? We all have more to do than we have time to do. How does this stuff contribute to that?
Yeah, good question. It's critical for most of the men I work with to be able to function during the day, cognitive function, concentration, memory, whether you're in the boardroom giving presentations or whether you're having to crunch numbers or work with clients and have to be at your peak. And there are a lot of factors that come into play there. Uh, Good quality sleep, good quality nutrition, proper targeted supplementation. And then there are health that are out there that we can utilize to optimize micronutrient levels as well as neurotransmitter levels. And there are a lot of fun, cool devices that we can use as well that can help us really optimize the way your brain functions. But it's a critical aspect of men's health that I'm glad you brought up because it's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, and in general, like going back to your stock market account, if you keep investing, you're going to continue to accumulate stock. And even if it goes down, hey, you just keep going. You buy more of that stock, the dollar cost averaging thing, if you keep after these things. And then you do get that exponential growth, like I am performing better at work. I am less tired because I actually got 8 hours of sleep. And we just want to take from the account, right? Like we get so busy, just like I'm just going to make this withdrawal. I'm just going to make this withdrawal, and we don't put the money back in. And I'm as guilty of this as anybody. I make progress, and I'm like, sell the stock. Let's party.
Right? Yes, exactly.
Oh man, it's so. I mean, I'm always hopeful about like the future and going forward, but also too, just in general, like when I'm healthier, I'm happier. I feel better about where the world is and everything else. I mean, it's easy to get lost in a COVID world and just be hopeless.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. When you upgrade, when you transform, when you revitalize your health and turn that corner, it changes your outlook, it changes your mood, changes your personality. And I have so many guys who will come in and they'll say their wife sees like a totally different person than me now, and it just changes your relationships. It changes so much of your life. So some of that is.
This is an important thing. I want to slow down right here because when this happens, do they usually come back and report, oh, my wife sees a new guy and she hates him? Like, does that ever happen?
No. I've seen so many men come in and tell me that, it's not just that their sex life, their intimacy has improved, because that's something that we can normally achieve pretty successfully, but it's deeper than that. It's where they finally have a connection to their partner because they're present and they're engaged. And the phrase that I like to keep coming back to is they're living with intention. And when you live with intention, people around you notice that. They see that and they notice that, and you're a different person because of that. You have conviction in what's important to you, and you stand for what you believe in, and you feel different. You feel alive again because of all that.
So I'm 50. Pretty soon here, according to how time goes, I'll be 70. Like just like that. Like 20 years is going to go by fast if I make it.
Flies by, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it goes by fast. And when you look at your partner, and we're both looking at this, like we see our parents, those that are left, and you go, man, that's about to be me. And it gets terrifying. I mean, it's really easy to go, what's the point? Or that's what I'm saving up for. And I would submit that when you take this approach now, whenever now is in your life, and you get better in 3 months, in a year, in 2 years, you look back and you're like, wow, what a difference I've made. That future looks a lot brighter because you will have more mobility. You will have, I don't know, less spare parts, all these things. I mean, at some point I'm going to have new hips. Not much I can do about that. That already happened. That train left the station. It's just, how long do I ride my old hip train?
Yeah.
But that's another thing. Like when your partner looks at you, they see someone that they can go travel Europe with or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, great point. I see so many men in their 80s and 90s, and it's fascinating how some men they look like they have one foot in the grave already. they're in a wheelchair, they're on oxygen, they have a catheter, they can't move, they can barely speak, they're not functioning. And the other guy's playing tennis every day, and he's out running. And you're like, hey, what supplements should I take for mitochondrial function? And they're alive, and they're acting like they're 50 still.
Yeah.
And that's the most powerful example I see of how this stuff that we're talking about matters, and it makes such a big difference. And you may not see it or feel it today or tomorrow, but it has a profound effect down the road.
One of the things that I'm sure I've said this to you before, I had no idea I was going to live this long. I should be dead. I mean, but I've made so many bad decisions for myself, not just combat. I had no idea I had to have to survive this long. And, my back is sore today and all these things, and I'm working at it. But I have a lot of friends who are, and I'm old enough now that I have friends that are 70 years old, 75 years old. Like, these are not just like mentors. These are friends of mine. And, I want to speak to the folks who are 60 to 70 years old or whatever, and they're like, I gave up 5 times in the last 10 years. I'm going to keep on giving up. But I don't want to say, is it never too late? Because it's never too late. But how do you readjust your mind after scores of years of life on this earth, doing whatever it is that you've done? How do you get it back? How do you get that mindset fixed, Tracy?
What's your why?
Okay.
What's your why? And my answer is rhetorical, but or my question is rhetorical for you. But the answer is it depends on each person's drive and what's important to you. And if you have nothing to live for, you don't give a shit, you have no family, you have no motives, you have no drive, then I got nothing for you. I can't make you want to optimize yourself, optimize your health. But for almost everyone I work with, there's something very important to them.
Yeah.
For some men, it's they want to feel loved, or they want to feel intimacy with their partner again, or they want to be able to be an amazing dad to their kid, or there's a deep connection to their work with me. There's a deep purpose, and that's their why. And so the mindset really comes back to that. It's never going to be because my wife's nagging me and I finally just don't want to hear her nagging anymore. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to make a change. It has to be something related to a deeper purpose in their life.
Yeah, that why part, right? Like, if you care enough to care,
right,
then let's figure out why and put those things together. No, it's good.
You can't just say, I want to lose weight. Bullshit. Why do you want to lose weight? Well, because my pants don't fit. No, why do you want your pants to fit?
Yeah.
Keep asking why. Eventually, when you drill down deep enough, you'll get down to the real essence of who you are and what's ultimately important to you.
I saw a thing the other day, and you see a lot more of these numbers come up, and who knows, they're projections, but most of the children born today in the U.S. will live to be 100. What? It's crazy. So, there's a better than even chance that I'll live to be 100, especially if I take care of myself. And I would like most of those years to not be spent in a hover round, or I don't know if I'll play tennis because I'm not really into tennis, but I would like to have some kind of activity I do, especially if I've got 50 more years to do things.
Yeah.
I gotta get to it. John, who co-founded the show with me and often is here hosting, he found a gym that worked for him. It's a powerlifting gym, and the guy's like, we're going to stack muscle. And this guy's an absolute pro at training people and mindset and everything.
Okay.
And I'll be damned, it's working. Him and his wife have a better relationship. They both look fantastic compared to where they were. They're going in the right direction. And they're all 50, 51 years old, and they're talking about squatting 500 pounds and maybe,
that's crazy.
Doing joining the 1,000-pound club and maybe getting to 1,500. This guy trains champions, and so if you do 80% of what the champions do, you're lifting a lot of weight.
That's a lot.
These things are out there. And I just encourage everybody to look for it, but also to have someone like Tracy to guide you, because that systematic approach, it makes so much sense. Like when it comes to, okay, look, you're a businessman. You got a bunch of businesses going on. You and I work together professionally in some things. I want to talk about your podcast in a second. But you think about marketing And everybody's like, oh, you gotta have a podcast. Oh, you gotta, do SEO. Oh, and all these other things. It's like, could you just give me a reliable map? Like, you're that guy. You're the guy that's like, here are the things. We've measured you. We've taken your blood, your DNA, and everything. And here are the areas where we can get everything on one level so that you're making a unified progress. Am I capturing that right at all?
Yeah, absolutely. It's data-driven, personalized men's health is what it really is. It's using data, it's using your physiologic data, your biometric data to make actionable decisions that are right for you that may be different for the guy next to you.
Yeah, I mean that's it. Hey, so let's talk about your podcast, because you're getting ready to launch, and I guess pretty soon here we'll have it. But every episode I've listened to has been fantastic. You're doing a great job as a host, but your guests are also like, there's just so much of this knowledge that is, I don't want to say it's new to me, but like I keep rediscovering these things where I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, and it's just so packed full of these moments where I realize, these are simple things that I can change, small little levers or knobs I can twist or flip. Talk a bit about what you're gaining from these conversations.
Yeah, sure. So, and thanks so much for putting me on the spot here today, Pete, with my podcast that I've been stalling launching because of so many other opportunities I have going on.
You're busy. You're off the hook. You're busy, and at the right time, we'll get them out.
But I very much want to get it going, so we will launch very soon with it. We have a number of recorded podcasts. I want to make some more as well before I formally launch. But yeah, for the listeners, my podcast is called Beyond Testosterone. And the reason for that is, as I mentioned previously, so many men come with, weight gain, low energy, issues with focus and concentration and issues in the bedroom and performance at work and brain function. And all these supposed men's health experts out there are telling you that all you need is testosterone. And testosterone was only going to get you maybe 10 to 20% of what you need is what I focus on. And so if you want to truly optimize your health and upgrade your life, you need to go beyond testosterone. And so this is the podcast where I really emphasize all the aspects of precision medicine and performance, and how men need to take a very radically different approach to health, rather than where we started this conversation with Thanksgiving, talking about how men will diet and try to torture themselves and limit themselves. It's not about that. It's making smart, strategic decisions and living with intention, and that's what Beyond Testosterone is all about. So I've had a number of great guests already, talking a lot about epigenetics and talking about precision nutrition and talking about sleep and fitness. We had Pete from one of a former NFL player on there. I've had Blake talk about nutrition. I've had Jay Campbell. I've had Dr. Gio Espinosa talk about some urology as well, and then a number of other guests that we have coming out for some interviews shortly as well. So I'm excited about it. It's a lot of fun, and I want to thank you. You've been an amazing help for me in getting all the tech stuff set up and all the logistics, and you've shown me how to do it professionally. And all I can do is try to emulate you.
Yeah, and that stuff continues to move forward. All of that tech thing, they don't ease up on us. But I love that you're doing it, and I love that you're gathering these things. And there are so many people that are in this world, like someone like Dave Asprey, who doesn't have a doctorate in front of his name, but has done the work. You can hear it in his knowledge. All of you guys kind of combine this powerful body of data that will allow us to just build simple habits. Like if you just, and I'm not plugging Dave Asprey stuff, but if you just followed his eating plan, like get up, have some of my coffee, at 5 or whenever you get up, and then you do this, and then you do that, you will already be well on your way. Bring in Dr. Gapin to get tested, because I totally agree. We had his last name is his name's Gordon. I can't remember his last name. It's like Lightheart or something like that. Had him on the show last Christmas, and he talked about the 4 critical tests you have to have. And he's this massive bodybuilder that he's like, if you don't measure these things, what are you doing? And it's and it's not that much money. You look at your long-term health, like you say, and this is me talking to myself primarily, you say you can't afford it, but then what's the next 40 years of your life worth? Like,
Right.
how good do you want it to be? You
How
know,
can you
so
afford not to? Yeah.
right, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
you talk about this account, like get started, you know, like
Right.
you have to have $500 to open this account or whatever that number is. You can absolutely do these things, you know, and
Right.
it's so critical to feeling better in 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. You know, this is what that money goes towards, and then you live a better life. And guess what? Like all healthy things, it's less money or money better spent than being sick and broken and paying
That's right.
copays and all these other things you have
That's
to do to
right.
stay alive.
Amen.
Not having to pay for diabetes medicine would be like really worth it.
There you go. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that will be a driving force. Yeah, the costs of that you could be spending elsewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Or the ease of travel, you know, because
Sure.
your body works better and everything else.
Yeah.
What I'm almost out of time here with you, but I want to make sure I give you a chat. Like, what else do you want to cover? What do you want to ask me any questions? What do
Yeah,
you want to
thank-
do these last few minutes?
Yeah, so I'm really excited. I have a couple big ventures coming up here. One is I'm launching a former brick and mortar center called Gapin Institute for Men's Health and Longevity here in Sarasota, Florida. That'll be launching in the spring, where I'm 100% focused on optimizing men's health using epigenetics and precision medicine and peptides and hormone optimization and cutting edge tools and biometric devices that we can use to track and monitor your data and use that information to make really great decisions. And then I'm also working with a national company. We're launching a virtual 90-day program that we call Male 90X, which is a men's health program, a 90-day program to transform your health. And that'll be completely telemedicine based. And so that's going to be coming out in the next few months as well.
Awesome. I can't wait. I love it. And you're inspiring me to go inside and have an apple and do some jumping jacks. No, but for real though, I mean, just by being not so gluttonous tomorrow, you know, just enjoying the day, but not having 20,000 calories. And you said, like, the thing about restaurants, you know, we're lucky here in California. You know, yes, we overregulate things, but we also publish calorie counts. And when you go to, Cheesecake Factory, not to pick on them, and you see that your entire day's calories are there in front of you on a plate,
Can you
and
believe
you think
that?
you ordered the healthy option.
Yeah. A slice of cheesecake is like 1,500 calories. One slice of cheesecake. It's crazy.
And well, if you get the chicken parm, it's 3,500 calories for that plate.
Yeah.
It's like 3,500 calories. That's today and part of tomorrow's food.
Yeah. So I would really emphasize slow down when you're eating, portion control, be very judicious in the snacks and desserts and cakes and candies. You know, if you're everyone's going to have it, and that's totally fine. I would never say don't eat it, but moderation is the key. Enjoy it and then get right back to it.
You know, I think it's the Brazilian food pyramid thing that they have there, their country version. It says to eat with friends and family, you know, to talk while eating. Yeah. Because the strategy is, the tactic is to have these people around you so that when you eat, you do eat slower, you know.
The social aspect of it. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Have a 2-hour meal and you'll be full, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, stand by. Let me sign off here.